Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Planted Carly Flower. I'm Carly, and today we are going to do a little bit of an update on the plants that I have imported. So we're going to take a look at them, we're going to see how they're doing, I'll let you know if they made it or they didn't, and we're just going to go over all my imports. So stick around and let's get started.
I want to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I want. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time?
Okay guys, so all my imports, let me go ahead and adjust you a little bit. They are mostly in this cabinet. I do have some downstairs that I will insert footage of, but let's start with the ones I have in here. And let's start with Hoya Ring Sand. So I did import this from Hong Kong, China through My Home Nature. I will link them down below. And this was in my second import. This is the one I had all the problems with my Fido certificate and everything. I will link the video up above and in the description box down below if you are interested in hearing about all the drama, because it was dramatic. Ultimately, I left you guys at the point in that video where I didn't know if I was going to get my plants. I did get them. A lot of them were unfortunately dead. Wasn't much I could do for them. And the phytosanitary certificate was in the box the entire time. If you want to know more about that, like I said, check out that video. But Hoya Ring Sand was one of the plants that was in there. There is 2 cuttings of this plant in this pot. It is in leca. It's doing very well. You can see the roots are already coming out of the pot. So it's a happy plant. It has put out, let's see, 2 tendrils and 3 leaves. They are on the smaller side, but the plant is still acclimating, so I'm not all worried about that. But look at this beautiful splash on these plants. It's so nice. I love this plant. It grows really well. It adapted to leca really well as well, and it's just doing really good. These leaves are still new and bendy. They're not even hard yet, so it's a recent output of growth that we're getting here, and it's just a gorgeous plant. It's doing really well, guys. I'm pretty proud of it. It lives in my Millsbo cabinet. It gets anywhere from 85 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature, and it does get about 80% humidity on the regular. It does dip into the 70s from time to time, but it gets pretty decent humidity, and it lives on a heat map since it was acclimating to leca, but I would venture to say that it no longer requires the extra warmth for root growth because the roots are busting out of the pot. So that's Hoya Ring Sand. Okay guys. This is the next plant that I imported. This was also in the second import. And this is my Hoya Wonder. And there she is. She's got beautiful big leaves. This leaf is new. And this leaf is new. But she is doing so good. As you can see, she is also in leca. And there are some roots, I don't know if you can see those, coming out of the bottom there. So she's doing really good. When I got these plants, they were pretty filthy as far as just dirt and debris. And I could tell whoever had been taking care of them was a smoker because they were covered in like sticky nicotine. And it was just bad. So I cleaned them up a lot. I had to repot them a couple of times because the water would just get so yellow and like filmy, and it was pretty gross. Risk you run importing. They have different standards of health in different areas of the world. Smoking is very common in other countries and not like it is here where it's kind of on a downward slide. So, you know, expect that you will have to clean your plants up a little bit, but she's gorgeous, guys. She is beautiful. She, like I said, has gotten one. This one and this one are new. This one's still growing. So is this one actually. It's still soft. And I don't know the cross of what makes a Hoya Wonder, but I'm looking at it and it's definitely some sort of carnosa cross, I would say. But it's beautiful. And look at these nice big leaves. Look at this big leaf, guys. It's beautiful. She's doing really well, busting out the pot. And she also lives in my Millsbo, obviously. So let's get on to the next one. Okay guys, this is Hoya Pacquiladaverigata. So as you can see, she's variegated, and I don't know if you can tell about the bright pink margins that she has from all the bright light in the cabinet. She's doing really, really well. She's beautiful. She's also in leca. I tend to move these right to a soil-free substrate when I get them because it's just easiest. The roots are already clean, and she's doing really good. The pot's not quite, there we go. And she has roots busting out of the bottom. So she's doing good. She hasn't put out any new growth. Oh, I lie. I do not know if I can get in here for you to see this, but it looks like she's putting out her first growth point in there. If you can see in there. It's got two tiny little leaves coming in a tendril. So Hoya Pacquilada is doing good. She was one of the ones that I really wanted to get, and I got her, so I'm really happy. She's doing really, really well. Okay, this is the last one from this cabinet. This is Hoya Jed, and it is actually my favorite one. The ruffled leaves, the slight splash, she's getting new leaves. I really enjoy this plant. It's very adorable. She's growing really well, if you can tell. There's roots coming out of this pot as well here. And she's doing really good. She's beautiful. She's got a new tendril. She's got a peduncle. I don't know if you can see the peduncle right here. Yeah, she's got a peduncle. And she's got a new leaf right here, folded in there. She's just doing really good, guys. This is Hoya Jed. Also lives in my Millsville cabinet and gets the same conditions, obviously, as all the other ones. Okay, so that's all of my imports in my upstairs Millsbo. Let's talk about the unfortunate business of some of the ones that died. In the second shipment, and start with the first shipment. In the first shipment, I did lose a Hoya Eclipse. That was sad, but honestly expected. I knew I was running a real risk trying to import an Eclipse. They do not ship well domestically. Like a couple days in shipping, they're gone. Like they yellow, they fall apart. Shipping a Hoya Eclipse and getting it in good condition is a risky business anyway. So I was not surprised when the Hoya Eclipse died. I did get store credit for that, and I used it on my second shipment. It was only $9.95 for the Hoya Eclipse, so I wasn't really out like a tremendous amount of money. If it had made it, it would have been awesome. Unfortunately, it did not. So c'est la vie, I guess, right? Now, out of the second shipment, I did have quite a few more losses simply because of the situation with the shipping and with UPS. I lost a Hoya glabra, and that was sad. I really, really wanted that. That was one of the ones I particularly had shipped for. It's one of my wish list plants, and unfortunately it came just a stick with a bunch of dead leaves that weren't even attached to the stick anymore. It was definitely upsetting, and I was very upset with UPS for the way they handled everything. Still am, but it is what it is, and it's done and it's said, and I'm trying to just be at peace with it. And I know that my future has a Hoya glabra in it somewhere, so it'll happen. It's just a plant, and I'm trying to move on from it. Let's go over some of the plants that are downstairs that I have from the import, and one would be my Hoya Inconspicua. This is actually a plant that I threw on there just to make it 10 plants, and I love it. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love this plant. I did not expect to like this plant as much as I did. I'd never even heard of it before. It was not on my radar. It was a cheap plant that I literally just stuck on there on a whim to get the 10 plant limit that I wanted to hit with that shipment, and it's one of the ones I love the most. It acclimated to leca really, really quickly, rooted like that. I have already cut and propagated this once to make a fuller plant. The leaves come in a beautiful purple color and then like fade to green with a beautiful delicate splash on them, and it's doing really well in my living room in front of a southern window across from an east window. I'm super happy with it, and I couldn't ask for anything more. So thank you, Hoya Inconspicua, for being amazing and beautiful. The next one I got from my first shipment is Hoya serpens, and like I said, it's doing really well. I put it in leca, and it did not like the leca very much. I think I left way too many roots on it, honestly, so I think it was my fault that it didn't actually pull through like I wanted it to. So the roots did rot, so I have it in moss, and it's doing just fine. I have taken, and I'm not exaggerating, probably about 9 cuttings for trades off of this plant since I got it, and this plant bounces back almost immediately. Like if I cut this plant, within a week there's already a new shoot with new growth coming off. It grows so fast. It lives in my downstairs Millsbow, and it gets the same conditions as the Millsbow upstairs, and it does really well. It does get a couple hours of direct eastern morning light, and it seems to be doing just fine with that, but it's doing really, really well. Another Hoya that I got in the second shipment that is living downstairs is my Hoya imperialis palawan. It is a fuzzier leafed Hoya with much thinner leaves. I did decide to keep this one in dirt. I do find that Hoyas with the more fuzzy, softer stem that don't get like a little more woody, like robust stem, don't do well in a water-rich environment. So I did keep this one in soil. It's in terracotta. It's doing really well. It did lose about 5 leaves, and I was a little concerned. They turned yellow, they fell off. I thought the plant was gonna on me, but nope, it did bounce back. It is not growing yet, but it is firm leaves. The leaves that are remaining on it are green, and it is doing really well. It is on my plant desk, which gets southern and eastern exposure. It stays fairly warm in that corner, at the very least in the 70s to 80s, and it gets plenty of light. So it's doing really, really well, and I really do like this plant. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but I'm definitely glad it's in my collection because I think it's really unique, and I don't hear a lot about this particular plant. Another Hoya I got from my first shipment is Hoya revo white version. This one is also very cool. It's got these beautiful elongated, chubby, thick, succulent leaves, and it is actually growing now, as you can see. It adjusted to leca beautifully, and I have since moved it into pon. It's doing really well. It's on my plant desk with southern and eastern exposure, and it's doing really great. I am really proud of this plant. Another plant I got from my first shipment is Hoya carnosa freckles. This came to me as a much smaller plant than I was hoping, but as with all carnosa crosses, it is growing like a weed. It's doing really well. It's got some new leaves up at the top and a tendril. I cannot wait till this plant actually really takes a good foothold. I recently repotted it into a larger pot because the roots were just busting out of the pot I had it in, and it is doing really, really well. I cannot wait till it grows a little bit bigger. I'm gonna take some cuttings off of this and root them and make myself a bit of a bushier plant, because I really am enjoying all the carnosa crosses lately with their gorgeous splash. Okay guys, those are all of my imports that I bought from my home nature. Some losses and some wins. Take with it what you will. I would really suggest watching my import video before you decide to import anything, just so you can have an idea of what to expect or what can happen. I know lots of people have had very positive experiences, and I did have some positivities from my experiences, but overall I don't think I will be importing, at least from my home nature or through UPS anymore. It was a nightmare that I do not want to relive, and I'm actually pretty content with my collection currently. I haven't bought any new Hoyas in a few, so you never know, I might get the itch soon. But thank you so much for watching and sticking with me and through this little update. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and week. Please don't forget to leave me a comment letting me know if you've ever imported, or if you have any of the imports that I got. Let me know how they're doing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you that interacts with my account and helps me to grow. And I hope you guys get to spend a lot of time today with your plant babies. Thank you so much.